Growing up, I was very close to my family. Both sets of grandparents lived within a half hour away, and we saw them a lot. One thing I remember from my childhood is when my grandparents on my mom's side would come to visit or like babysit or whatever. My grandpa was very into like old western movies and folk music, and he really liked polka music. He actually had an accordion like back in the day when we were kids. He doesn't have it anymore though. So you could see how I became interested in like country music and the guitar, specifically the acoustic guitar. The modern acoustic guitar, like mine right here, was invented in the 1830s in the USA by Christian Frederick Martin. I started to teach myself acoustic guitar a little over a year ago, and I've loved it ever since. I often listen to acoustic cover music while I'm studying or doing homework or when I wrote this speech. The acoustic guitar was responsible for countless swings in American culture from the late 19th to the early 20th century and even now into the 21st century. I'll be covering the significance of the acoustic guitar in American culture and how that culture created around the acoustic guitar is something that I personally identify with. The culture was primarily influenced by musical artists that used the acoustic guitar to motivate political and cultural change. The thing about the acoustic guitar is it's a simple but can be very complicated instrument. It's very easy for someone to quickly learn like a few chords and just play strumming kind of songs, right? But as the guitar became more popular, artists started to get more experimental with the instrument and things that they could do with it, which is where fingerstyle guitar came into play, which is a much more complicated, much more advanced way to play, but it opens countless doors for new types of music and new sound and new variations. Artists often use the guitar to create music that would appeal to youth, instilling ideas for change right before the youth would be able to get to the age of voting. So a lot of political or social movements were inspired by artists that used their music to motivate young minds and to inspire change. The acoustic guitar influenced modern music to expand into countless genres that anybody can identify with. Today, you could go walk around the streets and ask anybody, and most people are going to say, some of the like broad, general genres like rap or country, or some people like spiritual music. Over time, since its invention, the acoustic guitar has been a staple piece for many artists in their music, and even just images like Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, and many other artists use the acoustic guitar as their primary instrument, and that was how they brought their fame to the stage, right? It's also associated with a lot of stereotypes throughout the ages, like the hippie movement, seeing the hippie sitting in the back of their van strumming on the guitar like on the road or wherever they are, right? But another primary one that affected me the most was the Western cowboy. And I got that from my grandpa watching a lot of Western films as a kid. The badass Western cowboy beating off the bad guy, and end of the day, sitting around the campfire, strumming along on his guitar, riding off into the sunset on the back of his horse, with the guitar thrown over his shoulder. The image was most popular during the Great Depression era, where common people looked to the unlikeliest of heroes for inspiration through the rough times. And that's part of why cowboy or Western culture became so popular, and it continued to be something that people enjoy now, even. As growing up, obviously my grandpa influenced a lot of my musical interests, but also he influenced my uncles and my mom. All three of my uncles played in like garage bands through high school and college, and so my mom liked kind of a lot of classic rock because it was just part of her life, right? And my dad likes a lot of country music, a lot of more old-timey country, kind of bluegrass country music. So the music was always part of my life as well, and that was the part of the reason I was drawn to even learn the guitar in the first place. Teaching myself the guitar was what really made me identify with the culture, because it gave me a better appreciation for the instrument and the culture that surrounds it. If I had someone teaching me, I feel like learning would feel forced. Teaching myself, I'm able to teach myself what I want as I please at my own pace, and it's more. I feel more rewarded when I finish learning a song or learn a new style. I think the musical aspect, away from the culture aspect and cultural stereotypes, I think the music itself is something that is important in everyone's life. Everybody can identify with music in some way, in some different genre, especially today with the vast amount of options that there are for people to even listen to. Over the past 200 years, the acoustic guitar has been a significant source of change in American culture, and specifically music culture, and the way music has affected cultural and political change in America, specifically in youth and young adults. The significance of the acoustic guitar in American culture and the current culture surrounding the guitar is something I personally identify with through playing and just the type of music I like to listen to. The culture surrounding the acoustic guitar has built so much over time and transformed modern music in a way that probably nothing else could, and it will continue to have an impact on my life and hopefully American culture. Thank you.